So unit price is a cost per unit, and you get to choose what unit you're looking for. So in our first question here, what is the unit price for 4 liters of milk? And it costs $4.50 for 4 liters. So an example of a unit price is if we could find out how much the cost is for 1 liter. If you go to, have you ever shopped at Superstore? They have the unit prices tiny built in, which is really nice, because maybe you're buying spaghetti noodles and you have 3 different kinds and all those packages are different sizes. They might have a price per 100 grams. So they're choosing 100 grams as their unit. Now the word unit usually means 1, but depending on what you choose as your unit price, you might want to find out how much per 1 liter. Sometimes you might want to figure out what is the price per 100 gram or what is the price per kilogram. Those are different examples of unit price. So in this case, if we have 4 liters for $4.50, we would probably like our unit price to figure out how much it would cost for 1 liter. Now step 2 that I've listed here is sometimes we're going to compare prices. You can buy something at one store and they're selling it by the liter, and another store might be selling it by the gallon. Now in Canada, not very many places sell things by the gallon anymore. But there are things that are sold in pounds and kilograms still in Canada. So sometimes you might find sandwich meats that's sold by 100 gram or by the gram, and another place they're selling it in pounds. So if you wanted to say, well, which is a better price? Or it might be the case that you're going shopping in the United States, and now all their prices are in pounds and ounces, and your prices that you're used to are in kilograms and grams. So you'd have to convert between them if you were going to compare, is it a better price at home or is it a better price when I'm shopping in the US? So we're going to see some of those ones, but when a question like our first one here is just asking for the unit price, we can ignore step 2. So once you decide on your unit price, you set up your proportion to solve. So if I want to find out how much the cost is per liter, I want to find my price, which I don't know, per 1 liter. And what I do know is my price is $4.50 for 4 liters. Again, I added my units. I added L for liters. I added a dollar sign in there just to make sure that I have the same thing along the top. This is my cost. And I have the same thing on the bottom, which was my liters. Because it's important when you set up your proportion that you have the same things on the top of your fractions and the same things on your bottom of your fractions. Now in this case, if I wanted to solve for x, right now my x is divided by 1. The algebraic method would say I have to multiply both sides by 1. Hopefully you know that. Will that make a difference on the other side? No. So we can just go to the other side and take $4.50 and divide it by 4, because if 4 liters cost $4.50, then dividing by 4 on our calculator will give us x equals 1.125. Now if we're talking money, we'd probably round this to $1.13, because you couldn't have that extra half a cent. So it's $1.15 per liter. And when we write a unit price, we want to say exactly what it is, so we'll add that extra per liter, because that's how much it's going to cost us for 1 liter. So what is the unit price if 15 apples sell for $6.99? Too expensive? So step 1, we need to decide what is our unit going to be. We want to find the price per apple. So we want to know, and we don't know the price. We don't know the price for one apple. We do know the price for 15 apples. The nice thing about unit price is often you want to find it per one. And if you're trying to find it per one apple, well, then all you have to do is take $6.99 and divide it by 15. And we get so when we take $6.99 and divide by 15, my calculator gave me 0.466. And because my top was in dollars, this is dollars. But I could also say that that's basically 47 cents per apple. Yes, Jordan?
How can we put the $6.99 on top and the 15 on the bottom? Because I put it the other way.
Yeah.
And I got $2.15.
Okay, so it's important to see if I want price per apple, as far as what that means mathematically, the per part is basically a dividing. Price is in dollars, and per apple will mean that my price should be on the top, my apple should be on the bottom. So if I choose money to be on the top of my fractions and apples to be on the bottom of my fractions, I need to make sure that I have that over here as well. Because if I switch that over here, I'm going to get a different amount. And if you think about the amount that you got was 2 something, 250 an apple, 215 an apple, times that by 15, that's like going to be over $30 for your apples. And it only costs $6.99 for the 15 apples. I just divided $6.99 by 15. Because if I wanted to get rid of this 1 on the bottom, well, I'd have to multiply by 1. But multiplying by 1 doesn't, you can show it if you want, multiply both sides by 1, and these 1s will simplify. But the nice thing about whatever you do when you multiply it by 1, it won't change the answer. I double multiplied the left? Yeah. In this case, it wouldn't make a difference. All right, here's another one. The unit price if 3.8 liters of oil costs $12.98. Slick, I like it. So what unit cost do we want to find? Price per liter. So that's what we want to find. We want to know how much it costs per 1 liter. And what do we know?
Should we round to 12.98?
No, we'll keep it as $12.98. We know that $12.98 buys us 3.8 liters. Now, if I solve for this by taking 12.98 and dividing by 3.8, I got my price to be 3.415. I'm going to round to 2 decimal places. Most often with money, we round to 2 decimal places because that's dollars and cents. $3.42 per liter. Did these numbers remind you of anything that we've done so far? What's that? The very first page in our workbook had this amount. So what we're doing now is we're saying, well, I now know that that price was $3.42 per liter. What also did we have on that first page? We had that 1.5 liters of oil cost $5.50. So we already figured out, and I'm going to put this in green here, we just figured this out, that the green was $3.42 per liter. I'm going to switch colors here. We'll do this in blue, and if we find the unit price of that, we're going to be able to find out which is a better deal. Of course, when we talked about this, when we did that first activity, we said, well, there'd be other things you'd have to consider, whether you needed that much oil.
Does oil go bad?
Oil doesn't really go bad, but whether you could store it.
How about gasoline? Isn't gasoline oil similar?
So we got 3.42. That was our price for the green one. We also want to find our price per liter for the blue one, so we'll set up our ratio. We want to find our price for 1 liter, and we know that it costs $5.50 for 1.5 liters. So we go to our calculator.
More expensive price.
367. So it is $3.67 per liter here. So now that you have a unit price, it's much easier to compare them. And that's why Superstore, it's so nice when they have those unit prices already built into their prices, so you don't have to do the math while you're there. You can compare things quickly. But there might be other things you'd want to consider. Maybe you think one is higher quality than the other. So then if the blue one was a higher quality, you might feel like it's worth it because it's only 25 cents more per liter. So it's not that much more, so maybe it's worth it. Also, you don't have to buy as much. So maybe an extra quarter would be okay to spend per liter instead of having to store a whole bunch or buying more than you needed. So those are some things that you would consider, but now we know that the green one is a better deal. And that is the main reason that we have unit prices, because they give us a nice way to compare which is a better deal. Now, for some things, you'll never have to worry about unit prices. People rarely have to worry about unit prices for buying a car because they don't go to one dealership and they say, oh, we sell our Hondas in groups of 5. If you want to buy a Honda Civic, you have to buy 5 of them, and 5 of them is $87,000. Probably you won't buy 5 of them. You'll go to the dealers. Most dealerships know that you're only going to buy 1 car. So cars aren't sold by groups.
Or you won't have like Honda selling Honda oil and Ford oil.
So here's one for you to try. Which is a better deal? Buying 6 oranges for $4? Yeah. 6 oranges for $4 or 9 oranges for $5.50? Again, I'm going to use different colors to organize things. I'm going to do the 6 oranges for $4 here in green. So if we want to find the price per orange, so I'll set that up as my proportion. I want to find the price for 1 orange. I know that for $4 I can get 6 oranges. So when I do 4 divided by 6 on my calculator, I get 0.67 or 67 cents per orange. So that's my unit price for the green ones. And then here in blue, I can get 9 oranges for $5.50. So I want to find the price for 1 orange for the blue ones. I know that I can buy 9 oranges for $4.50. $5.50, thank you. And so if I go to my calculator and I go 5.50 divided by 9, 61 cents. So I'll do that. 0.61 cents per orange. So which is a better deal? It's a better deal to buy 9 oranges. So here is how we'd write a nice answer. For $5.50. Now, this is an example of how you find out a unit price. You could have chosen a different unit. In fact, in this case, if I had said, well, if 6 oranges cost $4, how much do 3 oranges cost?
3 oranges for $4.
You know, if 6 oranges cost $4, 3 oranges would cost $2. Okay? Does that make sense? If 6 oranges cost $4, then 3 oranges in the green would cost me $2. If 3 oranges cost me $2 in the green, how much do 9 oranges cost me? $6. Which is a better deal? 9 oranges for $6 or 9 oranges for $5.50? 9 for $5.50. So that is another unit. I could figure out my unit price per 9 oranges. Even though it's usually the word unit means 1. But if you use a comparison this way, that's a way I could do it without my calculator to find out which is a better price. No, the green isn't a better price. $6 or $5.50? $6 seems like more expensive to me. 50 cents more. So they're pretty close. But one is a better deal. You may notice this in stores. If you buy more, usually it's a better deal. The bigger package you buy is a better deal than a smaller package. Why do they do that? So you pay more. They get more money quicker. Okay. So if you buy more, it's usually a cheaper price, so they get more money out of you just because you're buying more. What's that? They can move stuff out faster, but you're not going to shop as much. Or maybe they're hoping that if you buy more than you need, it'll go bad. Stores actually hope that your food goes bad, so you have to come buy more. Because then they make more money. They don't care whether you use up the stuff or not. They just want to sell more stuff and make more money. Couple more questions.